There are days when you're broke and you want to just be like, I'm going to get that job in that bank so I can at least get my monthly pay. But no, it's just the passion for it that's what drives me really. Otherwise, I wouldn't be.
I have never seen anyone as loving as you are. Even though I know I'm not romantic, you make up for it to being romantic for both of us.
Hello viewers, you are watching Young.Entrepreneurs.Speak, the show that is to inspire young individuals to make a living for themselves by creating sustainable businesses. On each episode, we bring you young Ghanaian individuals who are making strides in the entrepreneurship businesses in which they find themselves. Now let me ask you, have you ever tried to organize an event from start to finish, planning, coordinating, executing, and you found out that it's actually more tedious than you thought? Or have you attended an event where you had to wait in long queues for your food, the MC was mixing up the running order, and the whole organization of the event was just poor? Well, I'm sure that 99% of times you've gone to an event which has been executed flawlessly was the handiwork of our guest today on Young.Entrepreneurs.Speak. Her name is Abokuma Ellis, and she is the creative director of Twirl. Hello, Abokuma.
Hi, Nefa. How are you?
You're welcome to Young.Entrepreneurs.Speak.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about the person behind the brand Twirl.
Well, my name is Abokuma Ellis. I'm the creative director of Twirl Events. We're a wedding and events planning and coordination company based here in Accra. And I have a passion for what I do. I have a big passion for planning events, organizing, coordination, and I love to pay attention to a lot of detail. When it comes to my personal life, I am one of 5 children from Dr. and Mrs. Fifi Ellis. And I love dancing. I love to watch movies. I love music. And all around, I like hanging out with my friends. And yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
When you're talking about how you love paying attention to detail or you have a passion for organizing events, I could tell that's why you are into the field of work that you are. So, but what's inspired this? Of all the things you could have gotten into, why did you decide to go into event planning and coordination?
Well, that's an interesting question. What it is I actually didn't grow up thinking, oh my goodness, I want to be an event planner. I didn't actually think I'll have my own company even to start with. I'm a science student from primary, secondary school, university. I did science my whole life. And then I always knew I had a creative side. I just didn't know that it would come out this way. Because in my mind, my dad was a doctor, so automatically we felt like you had to kind of follow that course. After university, I did my national service, worked in a lab for a little bit. I had different experiences with different jobs, but then there was no real satisfaction. You know, I didn't like the monotony, the doing the same thing over and over. I got bored with it. And then, so I was actually out of a job. I was in between jobs, and then I was helping a friend of mine, 2 friends of mine actually. They were planning their wedding, and I decided to help them plan their wedding. At this point, I still hadn't decided that I was starting my own company. But during the planning of their wedding is when I saw the creative side of me really come out, and it really helped me know that I was really interested in this. But I still hadn't decided that this is what I was still looking for a job, you know, thinking about doing law school and all of that. And then one thing led to another. I finished her wedding, and after her wedding, she kind of mentioned that I should consider it. I should consider doing this as a job. And you know, you play around with it, but then starting your own business is not the easiest thing to do. And after a while, I kind of started putting it out there on Facebook with friends, kind of just saying but not really putting too much effort into it. And then it just kind of grew. Like the knowledge, people started knowing that okay, Abokuma is doing weddings, that type of thing. I actually started with gift hampers. So I started doing little gift hampers in a little bit of a unique way. I started like wrapping them, and I'd go to Makola and go shop and them Charlie come back with like minimal profit or none at all. But then it was the beginning, you know. So I started with hampers, and then that kind of built my confidence a little bit to kind of push the weddings as well, or wedding planning as well.
Mama call me, oh.
Now, I've always wondered why we all sit when the groom is coming, but we all rise when the bride is coming. Is there a reason? Anybody understands it?
Tell me, say, he see you with tell me, are you crazy?
I have never seen anyone as loving as you are. Even though I know I'm not romantic, you make up for it to being romantic for both of us. My African Barbie. My queen of plates. Mamizia, all I ask is that you never give up on me. No matter what happens. No matter what life throws at us. No matter how old we get. Because if I have you, I have everything. I love you, Chantel.
Papa called me, oh, just yesterday.
Okay, you said it wasn't an easy journey. So when you were starting, tell us about that. How was your journey like?
The thing with events planning and coordination is when you start, you don't really need any money to start. I didn't start with any capital at all, because what it is I'm planning your event. It's your money that I need to use to plan your event for you, and then you pay me. So that's how it started. Do you get it? So it started, I'm planning your event for you. So I was able to plan another friend's wedding. That one also I did for free. That was kind of the actual beginning of me starting Purple Twirl, was planning her wedding. And it was kind of to get a little bit of experience. So I did that wedding, and it went really well. And that's where the actual growth of Purple Twirl started. Because from her, I did a couple more weddings, one referral led to another. In the beginning, majority of my events that I was doing were by referral. So this person here, so they were kind of all connected in a certain way in the beginning. In the first maybe 2 years of the business, they were all connected because it was by word of mouth that they were hearing about Purple Twirl.
Obviously, because your work was so good, so you were being referred. Yes.
A lot. So,
So it's not necessarily a matter of knowing people. It's more about letting your work speak for you.
Exactly. And that has gone a very long way in Purple Twirl being the brand that it is today. It's a lot of it's a people business, it's a service business, so you need to relate well with people. And once people feel good about themselves and about their events, they will let other people know about it. So the whole idea behind Purple Twirl is to really make the client or the bride and the groom feel like when they chose us, it's been worth it. You know, it's been worth it for them letting us handle the events, letting us manage the events, letting us take the stress off them.
The thing with the wedding planner is that she literally does everything, nitty-gritty, up to the point where in your hotel room, your clothes are in there when you get there. And you know what they say about the fact that, oh, you can't get it on in the night because you're so tired. Well, get a wedding planner and you will testify.
You don't know what she's talking about.
I hear the name Purple Twirl. I'm really interested, and I'm sure those who call you have probably never thought about it. But how did the name Purple Twirl come about?
All right, the name, it came about, it was one of those purple. You know, purple is the color for royalty, right? And I felt like this is what I want my clients to feel like when I'm planning their wedding for them on the day of their event. You want to feel like royalty. Everybody needs that opportunity at least once in their lifetime. So I needed to incorporate that in the name. And then with the twirl, you know, if you look at our logo, it's like a twirling ribbon, right? And I felt like the ribbon is almost always one aspect of an event, especially a wedding. You will get a ribbon in there somewhere. And then with the twirling, it's a dancing move. Everybody dance. I love dancing. I love dancing. And then with every event, I mean, there's no real event without dancing. So there's the twirling aspect as well. So that is that. And then there's another reason behind the twirl as well. So you know how the fairy godmother has her wand? Yes. Right? And what does she do to the wand? She twirls the wand and then everything is okay. Exactly. The magic happens. So we have that one as well. So it's kind of playing with ideas, and then I came up with the name Purple
So
Twirl.
viewers, now you know. If you've ever wondered how they came up with the name Purple Twirl, you just heard it from Abokuma, our guest today on Young Entrepreneurs Speak. Abox, you make it seem so easy, but tell us what your typical day is like.
Okay, that's an interesting question because I don't have a typical day. I never have a typical day. Every day is different, which is what I love about what I do. Let me run you through a typical planning and planning session for an event. So once the client contacts us and they want us to do the event, we meet up with them and then so it's not a typical day. I can't describe a typical day because it's a typical series of days. Okay, the planning process is we meet up with the client and we really want to get where their head is at with their event. It's very important to me to have a good vibe with the client. So a lot of the time, that first meeting, it should be important to the client as well, but it's very important to us as well. You have to have a good rapport with the client because it's one of the biggest days of their lives if it's a wedding, and you want to be comfortable with your planner and with the client so you can get your message across. So we have that initial meeting, and once that is done, we kind of have an idea what they want for their event, and then this is where we help them pick their vendors. We help them running around, checking for everything that has to do with the event. So we pretty much take over the event, but we're not dictating the event. Do you get what I mean?
So you sort of like let your clients bring in their own ideas and fuse in with what you suggest.
So based on the initial consultation, it helps us know what kind of events that they want, and then that also helps us decide who they can work with, but then they always ultimately make all the final decisions on who they'll work with and what they want.
You talked about your first meeting being very crucial for the client, but most importantly for you, because you need to ensure you have a good rapport with the client. So what happens when you meet someone that you just don't get along with?
Oh, I wouldn't tell you immediately that I don't get along with you. We'll talk and then I'll probably get back to you and tell you your date is booked. Because it's very, very important for the planning process. You need to have a good relationship because there's a lot of communication going on, you know. So yeah, I'll probably just state that the date is booked or we're not available for your date.
Okay. Have you had any challenges along the way?
One of the major challenges when we started, because what we do is we do events planning and coordination. A lot of companies do that in addition to being a decorator.
Okay.
Right. So right now people are understanding that planning and coordination is different from being a decorator because we don't do decor. So in the beginning it was very difficult telling people that we're an events planning company because you tell them that and immediately, oh, how much do I get for decor? And I don't do the decor. But then right now people are starting to get that they're two totally different things, because what a decorator does is they handle decor, right? But then what the event planner does is they are coordinating and managing the decorator, the MC, the DJ, the video, the photo, everything in its entirety. So you want someone who would be able to handle the entire event rather than just pockets of it. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this for, if I may ask?
Well, we're in our 5th year. Yeah, so 5 years now.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Do you have people you work with?
Yes.
A staff strength of
I have an amazing team of girls and guys that I usually work with. My main staff member, Phyllis, she's amazing. So I work with Phyllis, and then we have Laurentia, and then Dustin. I have day of coordinators as well, a bunch of them that I use depending on the number of staff that I need on the day of the event. So they come in as and when we need them.
What kind of events does Purple Twirl plan and coordinate?
We plan and coordinate weddings, social events, corporate events, all events but funerals.
Why no funeral?
Well, I feel like funerals are very family oriented and involve a lot of drama. So if you bring a funeral that does not, we've had a few clients that have had us do like a 1-year anniversary and a 1-week anniversary and stuff. But then with families like that, they understand that there's a coordinator involved who's handling everything. So that one we would consider. But then usually when the extended family is involved and all that, it's difficult to have one person be the sole director of the event. Yeah, and that's very important in coordination. You need to have one person in charge of everything. Yeah.
Abokuma, in terms of coordinating an event or planning an event, do you have specific vendors you work with?
Well, we do have a list of vendors that we sometimes recommend to our clients, but we do work with other vendors that the client brings on board as well. Okay. We never restrict our clients to use a particular vendor, and we always make sure that we make them choose who they want to use for their event.
Okay.
Yeah.
What makes you decide on which vendor you want to keep sort of like in your pool and then recommend to a client that this is a vendor you can use for A, B, or C?
So majority of our vendors, we've worked with them before. So if we work with you and we have a good working relationship, you offered quality service or products that we would want to recommend, because obviously you want quality and like quality products and services. Sure. To be associated with the brand. So once we work with you and we identify that the work you have done is good and is able to make other people happy, we would put you on our list. And sometimes as well with some vendors that don't necessarily have to provide a particular product or service for you. We go online, we're online, we have a whole team that does that. We're online, we review, we have like a list that, like a checklist that you kind of need to pass to be on our vendor list. Okay. But then we don't restrict our clients to use that vendor list at all. They can use whichever vendors that they choose.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Abokuma Ellis, Creative Director at Purple Twirl Events.
My name is Barak El Mahmoud. I'm the CEO of Capture.
Hi, I'm Chicha from Gigi Spa.
My name is Deborah Jane Nelson and my company is Think Mahogany Events by Deborah Jane.
Matthew Ansa is my name. I'm a professional MC.
This is Sheila from She by Bina. We provide clothes for women, classy, elegant clothes.
So hi, I'm Dinah from Lamy Design, and we are into wedding cakes. We'll be providing the wedding cakes for the next Bliss wedding show.
So I'm Kwesi from One Shot Studios, and this is our first time on the Bliss wedding show.
Bliss is a wedding show inspired by the real wedding experience.
You get to enjoy and see and feel how a real wedding will look like if you book the vendors that are participating during the show.
To see detailing of each particular vendor, know their taste, what will suit them, and where they can probably play or probably go in line with.
And this is the advantage of Bliss Wedding, that you get to see for yourself and not hear about them, but actually
experience it to give you an insight of what to expect for your big day.
It's strictly about the wedding experience, and you can try new stuff because people come there to be impressed.
You mentioned how your dad is a doctor, how you studied science. So obviously the natural path is to do a science-related field. So when you sort of told your folks that I'm going to go into event planning and coordination, what was their take on that?
Initially, there was a bit of a resistance. I wouldn't lie. It wasn't the easiest thing to do. I would say maybe the first 3 years, yeah, I was still expected to get like a 9-to-5 job. But then I guess when things started picking up, and then my mom started getting comfortable, and now she's very proud.
And how did you yourself overcome that, knowing that initially the idea wasn't bought into right from the start? So you also had to make sure that they could see your vision and understand. So how did you go about doing that?
It's a lot of perseverance, you know, and like I said, if you don't have a passion for something, you will drop it like almost immediately, especially when you don't see the fruition of it, you know, especially when you don't see the positive aspect of it. You don't see the money coming out of it, because there are days when you're broke and you want to just be like, I'm going to get that job in that bank so I can at least get my monthly pay. But no, it's just the passion for it that's what drives me, really. Otherwise, I wouldn't be.
All right, now you've been doing this for 5 years. I'm sure you've chalked some successes along the way. What would you say has been your greatest achievement so far?
Whew, that's a difficult question. Another difficult one. I think Purple Twirl being the brand that it has been recognized to be now, a quality brand, especially for weddings. I think that would be one of my greatest achievements. I am comfortable and I'm confident that we're one of the top wedding planners in Ghana.
So you truly are. I mean, that's why it's an honor to have you on the show, because we've heard so much about what you do and the great work that you do. You come highly recommended. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, so the purpose for shows like this is for individuals such as yourself, or people who are watching who actually want to start their businesses, but haven't started for various reasons, facing challenges, be it lack of family support or lack of capital, etc. But someone today is probably watching and is listening to your story and saying, I want to start something because of Abokuma. So what advice would you give to a hopeful out there who's watching you today?
What advice would I give? I would tell them to be prayerful. One, definitely. Prayer is like number one in everything that we do. Number two, you need to have the passion. I can't drive this enough. You need to have the passion for whatever venture you want to start. And you need to be focused. Set achievements for yourself, and block out the negativity. You know, block out a lot of, you can't do it, it's too much, you can't, you know, get a regular job. Just have a plan, have a good plan, and make sure that it's a feasible plan. Not every plan is feasible. Make sure it's a feasible plan, and follow through. And I think it will be good. You'll be good.
Speaking of plans, where do you see Purple Twirl in, say, the next 10 years? Or 10 years is too far.
Oh, it's not far enough. I have tons of plans for Purple Twirl. Well, I think we've captured the wedding market. I think it's now time to go corporate. So I have corporate plans for Purple Twirl. I have baby plans for Purple Twirl. I have home plans for Purple Twirl. It's a lot of ideas that may or may not come to pass, but then baby steps. We'll take them one at a time.
And we'll be there each step of the way. So hopefully soon, when you have the corporate Purple Twirl or the baby Purple Twirl, Young.Entrepreneurs.Speak will be there to come again and say, we followed you on your first journey where you captured the wedding market, and we want to hear your story about the corporate markets as well.
I would be honored to be back on here.
Cool. So Abokuma, when you were telling us about the person behind the brand Purple Twirl, the personal side, you said you love to dance.
Yes.
So today, we will show our viewers what it is that you love to do, or what you do in your spare time to unwind when you're not busy planning and coordinating. So I have a special song for you.
Why don't you lead and I'll follow?
No, you're the one who likes to dance.
Oh, goodness.
Come on. I'll follow your lead.
No, let me follow
I'll follow your lead. Oh, no, you're the dancer.
Okay.
Hey.
I
show me another move. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's do the Al-Qaeda.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Hey, go. Do that as well. Hey, go Abo. So viewers, here you have it, creative director of Purple Twirl, Abokuma Ellis. She's been our guest today on Young Entrepreneurs Speak. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun. And I'm sure some viewers out there have been inspired by your story. You told them they should follow their passion, they should make sure they have a plan, and they should push out all the negativity. I'll catch you on the next episode of Young Entrepreneurs Speak. My name is Nefa, and I've had an amazing time being your host. See you next time. Bye-bye.